do a lot of really cool stuff in this episode, and in particular we are going to turn this neighborhood into this. So buckle your seatbelts and let's go. The first thing I want to do to our little scaled down version of Oakland is add all the roads in. Then we're going to add in one of the most beautiful natural features of the area in Lake Meritt. We are going to spend today's episode detailing pretty much this whole area that we've just built. So welcome guys to episode 18 of San Francisco. We make some really serious progress in this episode, and I'm pleased to announce it's the first time I'm going to dip my toes into the plazas and promenades, the new DLC. I'm going to use that DLC to turn one of the neighborhoods near the downtown of Oakland into a pedestrian only area. This is going to be the first time that I've used the Plazas and Promenades DLC, so I'm pretty excited, although I did get invited to like a pre-beta testing and when it was in its earliest form, which I'm really grateful for. But aside from that, this is going to be my first real play around with it, and it's a really cool DLC and very clever as well. They've rolled a few different very vital mods into one sort of package, you know, like the service building for instance. You know, it represents basically the spawn point mod, and I just think it's really neat that the developers of the game are keeping a close eye on the community and the mods and what everybody's up to. That's really cool. The pedestrian areas had been long asked for by the wider community. The base game of City Skylines, although very good, it's very car eccentric, like you can't do much without a road next to it, so this is a breath of fresh air to the game. You guys just see me do something pretty crazy there. I used procedural objects to make a couple of black doors really big and put them underneath the lake. The reason that I've done this is to make the color of the water darker. When we use Theme Mixer to change the color of the water, it changes the color of the water globally. So if I wanted this lake a different color than the bay, this is the only real way that I could sort of think of. And the real life Lake Meritt is much darker than the bay water. It's sort of a murky greenish colour. But anyway, I've finished building our scaled down version of the lake, and now I want to start detailing around the edge of it. We're going to stick true to what we see in real life, but obviously we're just going to pick and choose what we're going to include in our smaller version. And I'm starting with one of the northernmost points of the lake. It's got this really cool like Spanish or whitewash terracotta roofed sort of structures that the walkway goes through. Looks like it goes through a little garden area as well. Then we're going to swing around a bit and finish the western edge of the lake. As you can see, we've got our nice concrete path that runs right around the edge of the lake running through here, and we're going to keep it pretty simple. We're just putting a few trees around here, and these banks here might represent the best place to come and have a picnic. So there's a little wee narrow river that feeds water into Lake Meritt, and at the mouth of it, it's got a pedestrian path that runs across it, and in my version, I'm going to make this into a little bit of a feature. I found this cool prop bridge from City Walk City Wall. It's this bright red style, it's got a nice little curve to it. I'm going to use procedural objects to fit that really nicely over the river here. This, of course, is part of our walk that goes right around the edge of the lake. Without knowing too much about Oakland, I can tell that this lake is really cherished and it looks like a massive part of the downtown. There just looks like there is so much to do down here, it's ridiculous. It looks really multicultural. There kind of looks like there's a little bit of something for everybody. So as I finish the bridge, you're going to see me push on to the other side of it, and we make just sort of an open field that follows what we see on Google Earth in real life. And it's got a couple of very iconic features, especially looking down from above. We've got some beautiful geometric patterns and angles running as paths that intersect each other, and I'm a sucker for beautiful curves. I love my architecture. But while I remember, I just want to quickly say that it was really difficult deciding where to start with Lake Meritt. Obviously building the lake itself, but I was torn between, do I build the downtown first and then start to detail around the edge of the lake as we progress, or ultimately I decided to detail the lake up completely before we move on. Now, you've also heard me mention in this episode that this is a scaled down version. Well, you're damn right it is, because in real life this lake is massive. The walk around the perimeter of this thing would have to be at least 2 or 3 kilometers. I mean, that's a wild guess, but just looking on Google Earth, it is massive. In my version here, it's going to be a little closer to downtown than what it is in real life, and I apologise if you're from the area and I'm missing out a massive neighbourhood that you would have liked to have seen, but these cities are just too big to build one-to-one for me, for the style that I want to build it. Don't get me wrong, the likes of Gaseous Stranger are doing a fantastic job in building one-to-one recreations, but I also love adding detail, as you guys really should know by now. And realistically, I don't ever see myself ever building a city in City Skylines without detailing it. So a one-to-one for me, as much as I would enjoy that, it just wouldn't work. I know it wouldn't. Our scaled down version of Lake Meritt is going to include all of the best parts, all of the most interesting parts from my observations. I'm also going to try and leave the north side of the lake relatively undetailed so that we can come back and do something later on. I really want to run with maybe some of your guys' suggestions. So anyway, we're making good progress here going up the edge of the lake, and now I want to move on to another part that was sort of mimicking real life, but this is where I really want to start adding some proper functionality to the lake. I'm going to plop a main building down here that's going to double as a sort of a cafe slash restaurant slash marina, and then I'm going to put some park entrances here so that we can turn the whole Lake Meritt into a functioning park within game and charge our citizens to enter it. Mwahaha! But seriously, it's a great way to make money in game. I'm not really too keen on running the same path and key around the edge of the lake the entire way round. It's just not realistic, it looks too manufactured, and we wouldn't see that in real life, I don't think. So I'm going to use some nice grass network surfaces here to make the path appear really narrow at the edge of the lake. It makes it look very tidy and just introduces much more green space to the area. And oftentimes I find the hardest thing about finding a nice method like this is not applying it to everything I've done before. That would be a big mistake. We need to also create an organic look to our city, which means it's growing. We're coming up with new methods to do things. And I truly believe that all of these things, including the edge of this lake, really add up to a bigger picture. But I also think you guys will agree that looks really nice along the edge of the lake. I'd love to walk around that. It looks so inviting. So jumping back to the functionality side of things again real quick, we're going to add a few things into our park area here that are going to entice people in. They have an entertainment value basically. This is going to help ensure all of our paths we've got around the edge of the lake are going to be flooded with people. There was one thing about the buildings in downtown Oakland that really surprised me. In amongst your classic brick and tile style American building, of course there was the Art Deco style that we see quite a bit as well, same within San Francisco, but I was very surprised to see a lot of tech startup companies over here, like in big glass skyscrapers. That was something I really wasn't prepared for. And in amongst all that classic American style architecture, it really gives a straight up contrast as to how much money these companies must have pumped into them. Because if their big towering skyscrapers aren't brand spanking new, they have at the very least had multi-million-dollar makeovers. this generally only happens with massive financial backing in one form or another. And as you guys have seen, we get a massive part of the downtown built out, but it looks much more impressive than it actually was. Believe me, it's very quick for me to put the buildings down as opposed to the detailing. So anyway, now I'm finally going to jump into the plazas and promenades DLC and start putting some pedestrian only areas down here. Yes, I know this differs from the actual Oakland, but I don't really care. I'm so buzzing to use these pedestrian areas that we're going to turn a part of the downtown here pedestrian only, right around the edge of the lake. I think that's perfect. So first things first, in regards to that, I want to change the roads to pedestrian only roads. I'm not going to get too carried away with changing any of the buildings or anything for now, but what's going to happen is all of the buildings that were on those roads that I've rezoned are going to have new demands placed upon them once I've upgraded to pedestrian only. And the first thing I'll need to do is place down a service point in the form of a building, and all of the goods and stuff that need to be delivered to the pedestrian only area, like garbage collection or goods dropped off and picked up, that will happen from this building I will place down. There's no stipulation as to how far or close this building has to be to our pedestrian only area, although we do have to connect the two areas with a district. Once I've done those very basic things, all of those pesky notifications bugger off and we can start really detailing this area up and taking it a bit further. You know, I find it so amazing that we've played this game we all love for so many years, and there's always something new to get excited about. I'm really thankful for that. The new DLC includes a lot of really cool stuff. The pedestrian only areas is really only scratching the surface. We've got high capacity schools, for instance. We've got wall to wall buildings we can put down now. And oh my god, that's a massive one. So straight away, even with just those few things, we're talking pedestrian only wall to wall areas. So, you know, old European towns, small parts of a downtown that are very compact. This just gives us so many more options. And I don't know about you guys, but it just feels like the airport DLC's dropped to me. I really haven't had a proper play around with that, so we're a little bit spoilt for choice. So anyway, the first thing you're really going to see me do here is just play around with these new things we've got. We've got new decals, new like entertainment things. We've got new props like pergolas and fountains, etc. And like I mentioned earlier, I know a little bit about this from the beta testing being invited, but these guys have really polished this up since then. Everything's running and looking so good. And you guys are going to see as the episode progresses, I'm going to get slowly more confident and we're going to really detail some places pretty heavily. There's only a couple of little things I'm struggling with now that the update has happened, but unfortunately lag is one of them, and it's quite bad, and it tends to get worse when I record. Unfortunately, sometimes it's difficult for me to see it until I get into the video editor, so guys, I'm going to apologise early if any of this footage from now on is lagging out. I've done my best to sort of hide it or whatever, but anyway, you can see here I couldn't help myself but do something fully custom with this new DLC. One of the things we can add to pedestrian areas is like this cool glass plaza, or glass roofed plaza rather, and I'm going to build an extension off the side of that sort of makes it look like it flows into this bit of an arch. Yes, I know it's a bit of a flight of fancy and the tax players would probably have a fit, but I also like the idea of adding something really iconic, and I really enjoy building things from my own creation, especially being able to put it here so close to Lake Meritt and right on the edge of downtown. I took a couple of really cheeky videos from ground level going through and under this arch when it's finished, and it actually looks really cool. Maybe they have like concerts and things like that under here, being such an iconic part of the city, but I really love it. I'm drawn back to this area all the time when it's finished. Thanks for hanging out today, guys, and I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Just in case you didn't know, I really love making these videos. But I guess my ultimate goal is to inspire you guys. I love this game so much. My love for this game just spills over, and I want to try and get everybody hooked on this game and inspired to go and do something that they've never done before. I'm off on holiday with my family for the next week, guys, so I may be a little bit light on content. I'd love to say I've got heaps pre-recorded, but I'm a bit of a roll by the seat of my pants guy. Or rather, I'm poorly organised. But either way, I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. Please hit the thumbs up if you really enjoyed it. And take care of each other, guys, and take care of yourself. And I'll see you on the next episode. Peace out.